That was like heavy metal.
I know.
Wow, I thought this
For
was a Latin week, man. Come on, are you kidding me?
Welcome, everyone. Mike's going to play something from the Latin drumming system to start us out.
I am?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, let's do some merengue. How about that?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I feel like pie all of a sudden, but let's do merengue.
There you go.
This is silly.
And we have music. There we go.
This is crazy.
Congrats, man. That was a great job. That's on the Latin drumming system, right?
That's off the Latin drumming system. We don't get quite that silly. Well, I have fun with these play-alongs because they're fun, and that's the whole purpose. But the merengue was in there. Believe me, we're going to teach that today, but the much simpler version of it. So.
Of course.
Dave. How are you?
Good, man. Yeah, it's great to see you guys all out here for another lesson. And obviously today kickstarts our week on Latin drumming.
Awesome.
So today is the Latin drumming essentials. And basically what I told Mike, if we're talking about doing this lesson, I says, just what are the main blocks that you need so you can start getting some gigs in Latin music?
Right.
What are some of the essential patterns that you should learn? And I wanted to teach that today to kickstart. And all you members from Drumeo this whole week, I mean, tomorrow we have beginner on clave, then we have a lesson on the samba / bossa nova, songo, Latin accessories and gear. So it's going to be an awesome week. So I'm glad you're all here for that. And who better to kickstart it off but with you, Mike? So
a white guy from Canada.
For a white guy from
right.
Canada, you can't get much more Latin than that. Actually, before you do go on, Mike, I do want to say that we do have winners from last week's lesson.
Awesome.
We had how to play with a bass player last week, and I picked a few of your comments from YouTube to give some stuff away. Unfortunately, this week we have no giveaways.
Oh,
I know, it's too bad. But hang in there because we will be giving away a lot more stuff in the future.
Does anybody want a pair of my sticks?
Maybe we can give away some of Mike's sticks.
I don't know. That's kind of egotistical
Is that okay with you?
of me, isn't it? No.
People would love it.
If people want a pair of my sticks, they can have a pair of my
sticks. There we go.
So give that away. I don't care.
We'll give away a pair of sticks. We'll give it away for the people in the chat. That's
I wish I had a signature stick like Cobus, but that's okay.
You can
maybe next year. I'll sign it.
Just sign it over top.
Over top of Neil's.
So I'll announce the winners from last week's at the end of the lesson. And anyway, enough of talking. Let's get to some Latin drumming.
The essentials of Latin. When you asked me to do this, it was one of those sort of the first thing that we need to learn in order to pursue the Latin gig. But it's not so much the Latin gig, it's also the audition, even for university and stuff like that. When I get students coming to me saying that they want to go to university to study music, there's always prerequisites for styles, right? And I remember this because when I was auditioning, almost 20 years ago to go to university, they wanted to see me if I could play a rock beat and a funk beat and see if I could play with brushes. And then, you knew the Latin category was coming up. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, can you play any Latin beats? And at that time, it's funny because I'd only been playing drums 2.5 years at that time. But I had learned kind of on my own through some books and stuff like that, and through one teacher, some essential Latin beats.
Yeah.
And that actually helped me get into university because my reading was really poor. I didn't have any musical knowledge as far as scales on a piano or playing on a xylophone and stuff like that. That was really new because I never had any piano lessons as a kid. But what really got me into it was the essentials of knowing at least some Latin stuff, so it wasn't completely foreign to me. So what we'll talk about today is just a bunch of various ideas. I know there's some guys that are going to really talk more about this and really dabble into the styles. But just when I kind of thought about this, I thought, 10 exercises of having some basic Latin knowledge, okay? And this is for absolute beginner up to even the guys that have been playing for a while. Like I said, for myself, playing 2.5 years and knowing 4 or 5 Latin beats. The teacher at the university was rather impressed. He goes, wow, we actually don't teach that until the second year of the course, but good on you. You can work on something else. Maybe you're reading or you're snare drum playing.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing. But I know that you're doing the lesson tomorrow in clave.
Yes.
So Dave's going to completely cover all the clave stuff tomorrow. But I do want to just get that word out there. And the word spelled CLAVE is not clave. It is clave. Clave is the key to Latin music, kind of like the quarter note is to rock and roll. And clave is also a pattern. Clave is also an instrument. Dave will talk all about that stuff tomorrow, I'm sure. But the two basic ones that I do want to talk about are the son clave and the rumba clave. And but before guys, we get any further, whenever you're getting into a new style of music, whether it be jazz or metal or progressive rock or funk or Latin or whatever, you have to start listening to the music, right? And there's so many great artists out there. No offense to these artists, but don't listen to Jennifer Lopez and call that Latin. It's like just because she's singing in Spanish, it doesn't make it Latin. Is you have to learn Latin drumming, right? And I was introduced to drummers like Alex Acuna at the time, and then Giovanni Hidalgo, a percussionist, conga player, Horacio Hernandez, those kind of names. There's guys with names like that where you have to say nya.
Yeah,
it's a good thing. Acuna, Hernandez, and these guys were the cats, right? These were the real heavy guys that I would start checking out. But it wasn't about taking my Latin drumming to such a high level because I knew I wasn't going to be this Latin master any day. I was just wanted to teach folks like yourself how to get the hotel gigs, how to get maybe the production shows, cruise ships. There's some people that laughed that I did that. Hey man, I was broke. I had no money and I had car payments and student loans. I went and worked on a cruise ship for a year, met some amazing people, made some money, paid off a lot of debt. I came back with a great tan, but the thing is I had to know a lot of styles. That was a big prerequisite to play in the orchestra was reading in styles, and a lot of the styles that we played were what we're going to talk about today. Okay,
cool.
But first thing is being clave. Like I said, clave is a pattern, and it's usually the two sticks, the two clave sticks that you'd hit together. But the pattern that we're going to talk about today is the 3/2 son clave, and I've actually heard Horacio Hernandez refer to this as the museum clave.
Oh, okay.
Because I guess a lot of the music, maybe nowadays in Cuba, is written more around the rumba clave. But it's very important to know. And I've heard drummers, like percussionists like Michael Spiro, refer to the son clave as the Americanized clave.
Okay.
Like Bo Diddley, like dunk 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 dunk, which is all derived from Latin music, right?
Yeah.
So. The direction, should I talk about the direction, what that means, or do you want to
say that?
Sure,
yeah, no, you can go for it, yeah.
I mean, well, you see the numbers 3/2. I did have to write this in one bar because we were trying to do one bar exercises. Generally, you might see the clave over 2 bars, and what that means is in the first bar there would be 3 hits, and in the second bar there would be 2 hits. It doesn't mean 3/4 and 2/4 because you're still in 4/4, but I scaled this down into one measure, and what there is the first half of the measure has 3 physical strikes, and the second half of the measure has the 2 physical strikes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now, when I'm counting that, I'm going to be counting 16th notes and 8th notes. And there's only one 16th note in this whole entire measure. And I think we should maybe pull this up, Kyle, and I will give this a try with some smart beat technology.
Awesome.
And I'm going to play, what I'm going to do, guys, before you hit play, is as opposed to clacking my sticks, very important, playing the cross stick on the snare drum. And you can have the snares turned on or off, right, to get that type of sound. If I'm too close to the rim, I get that. If I'm too far out, So you sort of find that sweet spot to imitate that clave sound. So that's how I'm going to play numbers 1 and number 2. So Kyle, if you could pull up number 1 for me, let's do this for the fine folks at home. So you can kind of hear that pattern as we're going through the ka, 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 ka.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're counting that, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. But the way we want to feel that is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And tomorrow, Dave will talk about the reverse application of the son clave. Now, the main thing is to know the difference between the son clave and the rumba clave. Okay, if you look at number 2, if you guys have the sheet music in front of you there or on your screen, is you'll notice that they look almost exactly the same. Okay, the first 2 hits are identical, and the last 2 hits are identical. But the middle hit, you'll notice, is on the 16th note, or the ah of 2. So what happens is on the 3 side of the clave, the 3rd note is pushed.
By a 16th note.
It's pushed by a 16th in this
Gotcha.
case. It would be pushed by an 8th if we were over 2 bars. In this case, it's pushed by a 16th. And what happens now is you're going to feel this 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. And this is a little bit deceiving because you hear this. And a few years ago, I had a drum teacher call me up, and he was having an argument with a student regarding the clave. And he says, okay, he says to me, what clave is this? And he's clapping it over the phone. He's going, da, 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 da. And I said, well, what do you think it is? And he goes, oh, that's a 2-3. And I said, what does your student think? He says, well, the student says it's a 3-2. I said, the student's right. So don't study with this guy. I won't mention his name. No, but because it's a little deceiving, because it's further away. And that last 16th note on the ah of 2 is actually closer to the end of 3.
So it makes you think the 3s.
So it makes you think. But you got to think that you got to split the bar in half.
Yeah.
Right? So that you got the first 2 beats of the bar, the second 2 beats of the bar, you're thinking of the 3 side in the first half of the bar, and then the 2 side in the second half. So this one sounds very similar with a slight delay. So Kyle, if you could pull up number 2 for me, that would be great. Here's the 3-2 rumba clave. So can you hear the difference?
Yeah, I can hear the difference.
Can you see the difference?
I can see the difference. I can feel the difference.
Can you feel the difference?
Question actually,
Yes.
right around these 2 clave patterns.
Yes.
This one's from Emonzon, and I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but I wanted to ask it because you were just talking about it. Are there times when you would play a certain clave over another? For example, if you're playing a 2-3 songo, does the 2-3 clave go more naturally with it?
A 2-3 songo?
Yeah, I don't really understand.
Yeah, you could, yeah. But the other thing you always have to know, and this is something maybe we won't talk about this today because I can open up a whole new can of whatever on this one, is you have to know which clave goes with which groove.
Yeah.
I mean, songo is rumba.
Yeah.
Right, so it has to be rumba clave. But depending on the direction.
Yeah.
Right, so that's one thing is when I was playing with salsa bands back in the late 90s, and I was either playing drums or percussion, if they would bring in original tunes, the first thing that usually the bass player was bringing in these tunes, we were discussing the direction of the clave. And most of that music, because we were doing a lot of very old school type of mambo style and whatnot, it was a lot of son. So unless it was a rumba style clave tune, there was a clave player who was one of the singers, and it was very important because as soon as you're out of clave, it's called cross clave, and you'll see a lot of the masters talk about this, and it means bad. It's cross clave. It's kind of like putting the snare on 1 and 3 in a pop tune. So, but that's a whole different lesson, man.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. But absolutely, you have to know the right claves, and that just comes par for the course on a lot of stuff. But which would help with number 3, because when we get into patterns like Cascada, and Cascada is amazing for wah-wah-ko. I mean, I'm starting to speak all these languages that people are going, what? I thought you were a white guy from Canada.
Yeah.
I am. And the thing is, the neat thing about the direction of the Cascada is you can see how the clave would fit with this. And if we have time, maybe I'll demonstrate that. But the Cascada is actually pretty cool, because the Cascada means shell. Cascada means the shell of the drum, and a lot of times I won't hit these drums because they're just way too beautiful. Would hit the side of the timbales, or the side of a floor tom, and play a pattern. So Cascada is shell, and Cascada is also a pattern. And I wrote these on the cowbell. If you guys don't have a cowbell at home, you can play the bell of your ride cymbal, you can play the rim of your tom, whatever, something bright and expressive. So the Cascada is a great pattern because there's a lot of funk stuff that we can apply with this too. It just, once again, day 1, and I'm like ready to talk about everything. And so gotta be careful.
We should do a month on
we should do a month.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Cascada is a beautiful pattern, and we're gonna play this one in the 3/2 direction. First of all, I'll just play the pattern for you guys with the SmartBeat technology, and then I'll show you how the clave fits with this.
Sure, sounds good.
So Kyle, whenever you're ready, bud. There it is, okay? Now, so what I'll show you guys is how, because it's the 3/2 Cascada, okay? Now, this means that a 3/2 clave will fit with this, okay? Now, the nice thing about this, and there might be some purists out there who will argue, but I've studied with some masters, and I've had a chance to actually sit down with some real masters of Latin drumming and get their input. And, you know, everybody's got a general consensus, and there's some guys that have their beliefs and whatnot. So you take a little bit, whatever works. To me, if it's musical and it fits and it sounds good, play it. I mean, you'll know if it's wrong, it's wrong. But one thing that I did learn is that you could fit either clave in the Cascada, depending on the tune. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to play number 3 again without the SmartBeat, but I'll play the Cascada, or the clave, sorry, I'll play the 3/2 son clave on my left hand while I'm doing this.
Okay.
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 1, 2, tick, 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 tick. And it sounds cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Now, I've had some people say, can you demonstrate it the other way? I can't, because you get programmed, meaning playing the wrong clave with that direction. You get so programmed to driving on the right side of the road, you know, and not running into cars, that I physically, my brain goes, no, but, you know, you can practice that, but just don't get into the habit of playing the wrong clave. Okay. So that's a great one. I mean, the Cascada is such a wonderful pattern. Maybe at the end of the lesson, if you remind me, I'll demonstrate some pretty cool stuff with that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll remember that.
Should we move on to number 4?
Yeah, let's move on to number 4.
Number 4. Now, guys, if you look at number 4, okay, it's the exact same pattern, but this starts on if you look at number 3, you see the 3 and, right? This is what the 1 and is. So we're starting on the second half of the beat. So now it's 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and right? And a lot of times we sing these rhythms. Right? And you just feel it, right? So, Kyle, let's pull up number 4, please. Just cowbell. And so on and so on. Here it is with the 2/3 son clave. and so on and so on. And you can take that idea, the left hand, move it around the drums, move it to a different cymbal, a timbale, and you can have some really, really cool stuff. So clave and cascara are big because it's almost like, if you're talking about this to people who understand Latin music, they go, wow, this guy actually knows a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but a little bit, right? And it's a good starting point.
For that last pattern, were you playing the rumba clave or the song clave?
That was the song.
That was song? Okay.
Because you can play either one, right? So now you're pushing the third note of the three side. There's rumba.
Yeah.
And a lot of the funk stuff, I've seen, music keeps growing and changing. With the funk stuff, I see guys doing son, if they're doing like some sort of a left foot pattern or whatever.
Yeah.
But now they're getting into rumba. Wawanko, right, is a rumba clave that you'd use with that, and it's super. That's what I'll try to demonstrate if I can remember at the end. Okay, let's get into some of the essential beats, guys. Now, once again, these are the real simple, essential drum beats out there, and they're fun to play. And it's also important to know the tempos, not the numbers, but I mean slow, medium, fast, fast. And cha-cha or cha-cha-cha is a slower one. One thing to keep in mind too, guys, is Latin drumming and Latin music, as far as from my experience, is not about, hey, look at me, I'm so awesome, watch me go. It's about making people dance. You go anywhere in the world where there's world music, it's a very festive celebration, right? And the cool thing was I was getting a chance to do some drumming for a dance class a few years back, and it was all this ballroom dance, right? We had to show up in a tux and all that stuff. I mean, pay was great, so I did it, but we were playing cha-chas, and it was like while they would learn, so you'd play a cha-cha for an hour.
Yeah.
By the end, I'm going, but I'm walking out there going, cha, 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 cha. Sir, can I help you? Cha, 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 cha. But I learned a lot. I almost learned how to dance, but it was pretty cool how the style fit the beat.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I put a little more of a challenging one because sometimes you can play a little, a pretty basic cha-cha. In this guy, I made it a little bit more challenging because the cowbell is now going, it's like two, cha, cha, cha. Cha-cha-cha.
Yeah.
So the right hand ends up doing that. Now, one thing that's very common in Latin drumming is replicating conga parts. And if you see a conga player playing a cha-cha, and what's happening with the left hand is I'm playing cross stick. This is the one that still doesn't have the mark, but you changed that, right? We have it?
Yeah.
It's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the drummer plays the conga part essentially, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and I kept the bass drum really simple, okay? And the bass drum is just playing 1 and 3, and the hi-hat with the left foot just to give him a job. You're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And you always got to break these beats up. That's one thing I did in the Latin drumming system was I broke these things right down to bare bones because to just try to jump in with both feet and both hands and play beats that require independence can be a challenge. Can definitely be a challenge. So let's do Kyle. Let's do the cha-cha with all limbs a flying. That was kind of slow.
Speed it up a bit. Let's hear it.
Wow, I was going, wow. That's almost too slow for a cha-cha. I was going, are we playing it this slow? Anyways, learning it that slow is very important.
Of course.
But that was a little slow for a cha-cha. Think of the song Oye Como Va.
Okay.
And that's probably a good starting tempo. So if I'm ever asked to count in a cha-cha, I get that tune in my head, Oye Como Va, Tito Puente, and then Santana redid it many years later, is get that tune in your head, and there's your tempo.
Yeah, gotcha.
So anyways, there's cha-cha, but you'll play it. I guarantee if you guys get any of those gigs that I was talking about earlier, sort of the hotel gig, the ship gig, you know, you'll play a cha-cha, guaranteed. How we doing? Should we move on?
Yeah, let's go through these. Going. Yeah.
The bolero. The bolero is kind of fun, also known as the ballroom rumba, I guess. Is snares are off in this one, guys. So we turn the snares off because we're trying to replicate more percussive sounding drums and not so much snare sounding snare drum. And this one, I used a specific sticking just so we could, you know, for simplicity's sake. So if you're looking at the sticking in this going, wow, there's all these rights and all these lefts, it's slow. This is another slow groove. You don't want to play this one very fast, and take it slow, but the rhythm itself, you're going 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and there's that same thing on the last two hits on the 4 and the two lefts, 4 and, same as the cha-cha. You're bringing in that conga part, gong gong. I'm going right, left. It just feels more natural, and then the right hand's ready for the snare again.
Exactly.
And we don't need to go super fast on this one. And all I'm doing is the same thing with the feet in the cha-cha is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Kyle, can you get number 6 happening for me, please? Snares off, guys. So once again, that tempo surprised me because that was even slower than I'm used to. But you can play a bolero that slow. It depends on the song. I'm sure there's people probably saying, how fast can you play the bolero? Well, it gets into a rumba when you start going, you know. This was a beat that, keep in mind, I worked on the cruise ships for almost a year, and man, things got a little boring. You know, it's like you're doing the same thing over and over. I had to mix it up, but I had my general beats that I'm showing you guys here, and by the end, I was like inventing beats that the band leader was going, wow, that's great, man. You know, this stuff ended up in the Latin drumming system, but you know, you'd be going like. You know, just to kind of keep myself from going crazy at that point, because to play these same songs and a lot of the band leaders like the same tunes every week, and I was going, I gotta go home. But
so as cool as you think it is,
but there's a time. You know, there's a time and a place. It's a great way to make some money and a great way to get the experience of playing and seeing parts of the world I've never been to. But you gotta mix it up a little bit and make it interesting. So,
for sure.
So it doesn't become, you know, so boring. Anyways, the opening track that I played for you guys was the merengue. Okay. Now the merengue is meant to be fast, and then we practiced this earlier slow, and it's really weird to do it slow, but I got to teach it to you slow. And the one thing that's really important about the merengue that I found out when I was playing with a lot of bands that were doing these kind of styles for various dances was that forianda on the snare. And when you listen to a lot of merengue style music, you hear doo-doo-doo on the forianda, like within the music. Maybe not every bar, but you definitely hear it implied or introduced, you know, every second phrase or whatever it is. And so I had to throw it in there, but once again, a great audition piece to get into a college or whatever. Yeah. And usable. Once again, usable. What I was playing earlier was this plus, okay? But snares are off for this one, and the bass drum is pounding quarter notes, and what you could do is you could add the left foot playing quarter notes at the same time. I just wrote it for simplicity now of the bass drum just playing quarter notes, so nothing fancy with the feet, okay? And the rhythm it's quite similar to the bolero, but we're gonna go 1, a 2, and 3, and 4 E, and a 1, a 2, and 3, and 4 E, and a ga 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 da 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 ga 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 da 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 ga 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 da 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 da. Notice that I put beat 1 on the floor tom, just to mix it up, to give that number 1 a big bow, right? Like the, right. If you're just practicing the rhythm itself, it's all single stroke roll. can see that's why that's one of the fan favorites. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's try it at a very slow tempo.
Awesome.
We have a weird pitch happening here. So once again, learn that slow, guys, and then speed that one up. That one is fun, even just for drum solos. You don't even have to be playing in a Latin band. Just start playing that around the set, and everybody be like, "Wow, dude, you rock!"
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Yeah. Let's
And
move
then
on.
take lots
Soca.
of questions and whatnot. The soca. Okay, so the soca. Man, this is a party. This is a party beat. The party beat. Okay. I won't get into the history of this. It's all in the Latin drumming system, and I don't want to take up all the time. I've heard people say soul calypso. I've heard people argue and say, no, it's not soul calypso. I've heard people say Latin disco, and I've heard people say, no, it's not Latin disco. You guys be the judge, okay? But, feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot. I mean, that's the best example I can give you guys. And as hokey or as cheesy as that seems, this is what the beat is. The beat is, it's like a disco beat with a Latin flavor. And, you can start it simple. We're getting a little more interesting here with this one. Maybe I'll play one of the soca's at the end from the Latin drumming system. It was a fun beat to play. And we're opening the hi-hat on the ands. So we're going 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. So the right hand ends up going If that's throwing some of you beginners, just play straight eights. Okay? What happens is your bass drum's playing quarter notes. Right? For you guys that can hang with the right hand. If not, just play eighths. Now, if you look at the snare drum, okay? The snare drum is on the ah of 1 and the and of 2. And then the exact same pattern repeats ah of 3 and a 4. So I'm just going to play it with straight eighth notes for now, and I'll let you guys hear how this sounds, and I'll speed it up a little bit. Then I'll go into the way number 8 is. Then we'll do the example with smart beat.
Sounds good.
Okay. Doesn't that make you want to just form a train, a
All
carnival
I
line?
was listening to was feeling hot, hot,
Hot.
That's all I had in my mind.
And you know
when
what's funny? Because, going back to the cruise ship reference, and I use that because we're playing these beats, is, there was the days off we had. And sometimes the days off were pretty boring. There wasn't much to do. And there was like a mariachi band or a party band. And I got to know the other drummers. I was playing on the orchestra. And I got to know the other drummers. And they'd be like, hey, dude, you come and sit in. I'm like, yeah, sure, man, anything, And they'd be playing like soca's and things like that. And the guys would go off and go suntanning, whatever. And, man, they would play soca for 45 minutes. And there'd be 100 people going around the pool out in the outside deck. And it was a party.
That's
man.
awesome.
And it's like, okay, here we are again playing the same beat, but it's like, you guys keep going, and like now there's 50 more people. But soca's a beautiful one, and there's lots of variations I have in my book on this one. So Kyle, if we could do number 8, nice and slow, here we go. Eight bars, right?
Excellent.
I want to just play that for an hour.
Yeah, of course.
But we've only got an hour, right? Let's finish out the last 2.
Yeah, sure.
Very important. And I put the bossa nova later on just so you guys didn't turn us off and go, wow, this is way too challenging. The bossa nova is a must. You guys must know this, okay? And the main reason for it is it's probably one of the more popular Latin beats that you're going to see. High school band, church bands, any kind of production show. And I'm sure some of you can relate with me on this, where you get a chart okay? And, there's all this notes on it, whatnot. You don't know the name of the song. It's called, Joe's Tune.
Yeah.
And it says Latin at the top. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I mean, so you kind of look at you try to see if there's a beat at least written out in the chart, and sometimes there is, but most of the time there's not. And generally I have to wait till I hear the tune. Okay. But for some people that may not have a trained ear, they might go, well, what Latin beat? I know 10 Latin beats. Which one?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask the teacher, the conductor, whoever it is, saying, okay, so what kind of Latin feel? I've had people say, when I used to play in big bands, they'd say, I don't know, just feel it. So
Jeez.
you kind of don't even know what to play at first. You're like, okay, here's the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's definitely not a bossa.
Yeah.
So you're kind of going, okay, wait, and then everybody's looking at you like, why isn't the drummer playing? So the point of the story is sometimes when you see a chart and it says Latin, especially for you high school jazz band drummers, 90% of the time it's going to be a bossa nova, okay, or a samba. But in this case, you must know the bossa. And the bossa nova was a tough one for me because of the independence required, okay? I wrote this one over 2 bars. It has a bossa nova clave in it, which is a little different than the son and the rumba. But what's happening here is your right hand's going to play 16th notes on the ride cymbal, okay? So that's the easy part. Left foot, just to kind of give us that element of, I guess, jazz, In this case, it would be in the ands. Over 8th notes would be on the 2 and 4. In this case, it'd be on the ands. And the bass drum is actually playing kind of a rock bass drum part. We know we can do that.
Yeah.
So now we have to go, replace the left hand with the left foot. Now this is where the trick comes in, and I teach my students this one all the time, and I always say you got 3 weeks to learn it. It took me 6 months. The reason it took me 6 months is I kept giving up on it, and I wasn't breaking it down limb by limb.
Yeah.
I was just trying to play this one. So with this guy's, I think Sam or someone's doing a lesson on bossa and samba, so they'll probably give you the whole rundown, the whole breakdown. But bossa nova is a cool sounding groove. It's not meant to be fast. It's slow to medium. From Brazil, beautiful country. I really hope to visit Brazil someday. But here is the bossa nova in the 3/2 direction, actually. This is going to be also played in both directions. Kyle, number 9, please. And when I first heard one of my teachers play that, I went, "Oh, that's just cool."
Yeah.
I mean, even though I didn't know where I'd use that or what I would do with that, I just liked the sound of it.
Yeah.
But it was real independent.
So recognizable too.
It's so recognizable, especially now. I mean, this was 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. And once again, if I had a dime for every bossa I played, production shows. Let's go back to that silly cruise ship thing again. Yeah, I try to get that out of my memory. It's like, that was just, it's done. But even now, when I work with John Cameron and those guys, they rearrange tunes and they'll say it's a bossa. And it works. It's a beautiful, nice piece. But that's a very, the bossa nova is kind of like a nice, it's kind of a sultry sort of beat, nice dance. Men in tuxedos, women in sequins gowns, and stuff like that. It's a real nice romantic type of beat.
Mike, before you move on, you did mention a little bit that you said you notated this in 2 bars, but it is only in 1 bar. Did you mean that instead of doing it in 8th notes, you did it in 16th notes?
Well, it's done in 16ths right now, so we can get into 1 bar, because generally you'd have like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that would be like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the hi-hats are 2 and 4, right? If I'm translating over to swing, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, we did it in 1 bar.
Yeah.
So it's just, it looks scarier than it is.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not really that hard to play. This one's not too bad. Okay.
Cool. I just wanted to bring that up just in case people
absolutely
saw it's 2 bars,
because
only 1 bar.
Like I said, a lot of these beats, even like going back to the clave and the cascada, can be written over 2 bars in some cases.
Yeah.
It's easier reading. You're not seeing so many 16th notes broken up with 16th rests and whatnot.
Yeah.
In this case, the nice thing about the bossa nova is you can see all the 16ths, so they're kind of easy to line up the cross stick notes and the bass drum and the hi-hat notes. Now, one of my personal favorites is number 10. Like I said, I spent a lot of time studying Latin, and I feel like, I'm like a raindrop in a sea of knowledge when it comes to understanding this style, but I'm happy with what I have so far, but I'd love to learn more. And I was taking a Brazilian course when I was out in San Francisco, probably 5 or 6 years ago, and with this Brazilian master, and it was amazing. It was, you think you know so much, and then you go to this class and you go, wow, I really don't know anything.
Yeah.
And of course, he was talking a lot about samba partido alto, which was a pattern, okay? And you look at this pattern and you go, whoa, this is crazy. But once again, guys, with any of these Latin beats you learn this week from whoever's teaching them is break them down piece by piece, limb by limb. What's the ride cymbal doing? What's the left hand doing? What's the bass drum doing? Put them all together, and that's the quicker way to learn these beats. That's really the quicker way, and that was the whole concept of the Latin drumming system, was how do we get these beats happening now, not for me, bossa nova 6 months. Now people can learn it in 3 days, 2 weeks. That's just the way it is. So with the samba partido alto, like samba is also from Brazil. I mean, Sam will talk about this, man. They got samba schools in Brazil. It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And very high energy festival party, right? Type of a big time of year. Carnival out there in Brazil, and you hear a lot of great samba. But the partido alto was really cool because the cool thing about the samba is you can break so many rules with this as far as expressing yourself differently for tune to tune. But if you have to play one samba, this would be the one. And this teacher was talking about this a lot. He says there's so many variations and there's so many different books and different DVDs on how to take the samba into, onto planet Z. And he says, just play this. And let me play this for you, and then I'm going to break this down. This is a great groove, okay? Now tell me that wouldn't work in any samba situation.
That's
Isn't
brilliant.
that great?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's so
and
good.
it's so simple. I mean, as far as you can make it cooler, but that's cool.
Yeah.
I was learning that kind of stuff even when I was studying at Drummers Collective in New York City and stuff like that. But we won't get into the whole history of it today, but I love that pattern. So that's when you said, put a samba down, I said, we got to do partido alto. And partido alto is the pattern. And the way they were teaching this was cool because the guys, half people in the class couldn't count. So they weren't going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. They weren't doing that. They were saying the word down for down beats and up for up beats.
Oh, okay.
Down, down, up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 down, down,
Gotcha.
down, down, up, 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 down, down. So a lot of the drummers could already go, I'm lifting up and saying down.
Yeah.
Do some exercises here. But that was a way to kind of program yourself on this beat. But what a great groove. So let's do this one real quick, Kyle, and then we'll talk about maybe get some questions happening here.
Yeah, for sure.
And the beauty of that beat is you can play it slow like that because there's slow samba, there's medium samba, and there's fast. Is you can play that one slow and get that pattern happening. If you had a set of go-go bells or even like cowbells over here, I could even play that pattern here on a higher pitch. Faster. And and the focus is maybe take that one beat and just try to make that groove.
Yeah.
At slow tempos and fast. And, it's amazing when I get students of mine that are 14, 15 in the school bands, and they're saying, wow, I got to play samba. Oh, when are you guys rehearsing? Tomorrow. Yeah, you got to build the speed up, guys. So be patient with that one. But to me, it's like those are the essential grooves. There's so many others. I played a songo in the play-alongs earlier. I played kind of a Mozambique-style thing that Steve Gadd, or tried to. Those are cool, but you don't really need those right now. I mean, for now, learn these and then keep on branching. But, when I got bit by the Latin bug, I just kept wanting to get bitten more and more.
Yeah, that's what happens.
More. Give me more.
Yeah.
So you got some questions?
Yeah, I got tons of questions.
Excellent.
Mike, just want to say that was an awesome lesson.
Hey, thanks.
Time was perfect. I just let you go and you just you owned it.
Owned it, baby.
Very cool.
Feeling good.
Let me get some questions here and give away those last 4 things from last week's lesson.
Sure.
And then I'll also give away a pair of your sticks.
Why not?
Excellent. Okay, so Alberto says,
Alberto?
Dave, where can we download the song? The song that Mike played for this lesson is actually on the Latin drumming system. So if you have access to that online, or you can always go to latindrummingsystem.com and pick it up, the DVDs and stuff. Yeah. That's where you get it. This week we are releasing a song from there.
Oh, cool.
For the free download, but it's not the merengue, it's the samba.
Oh, cool.
So Mike's just learning about this now.
Okay.
So like you'll get deer in headlights. Okay. Okay. Cripiotum says, what is the secondary snare called?
Well, this is it's a timbalito, which is a small timbali. It's not a snare. There's no bottom head. There's no snare wires. This has turned into my rock timbali, right? Yeah. And it's always been. But you take this to the Latin gig and people love it. Timbalis are generally a single-headed, 13, 14, 15-inch steel shell drums, played by Changuito and those types of artists. Tito Puente was a timbali master, and this is a mini timbali, or in this case a timbalito. It's made of wood. I put custom stickers on it, and I like to do that. I customize stuff.
Dream Theater, right?
Dream Theater. I got the Rush Star Man, and of course I got the R30 logo now. That R30 is kind of making its way back. So it's a timbalito, but it's cranked. It's single head, and that takes off heads, man.
I'm jealous of that drum.
It's unfortunate. This is an old Yamaha Alex Acuna model. They don't make it anymore. It's too bad. Yeah, they were white, and you can get them in all sizes. If you can find those on eBay, man, I should grab a few more. But I talked to my Yamaha guy, and he goes, "Yeah, they don't make them anymore." It's like, I should have grabbed more when I had the chance, but. Yeah. Osiris211 asks, hey Dave and hey Mike. Hey.
He says, could you recommend a couple of Latin artists that would be great to start listening to? This is a good question.
Yeah, I mean, oh boy, the list is massive. But I mean, if you're thinking more traditional, depending, if you go in traditional, I mean, Tito Puente is a must because you're hearing Latin music without drums. Yes. You're hearing percussion, right? Like I said, some people say, Santana. I mean, Santana has all the Latin guys, but we just saw Michael Shrave do a clinic here, and he talked about how it was more rock with Latin flavors, right? Which is great, but you're not going to be able to play, mambos and stuff like that to Santana. But listen to Santana; it's just so much fun. I almost played Oye Como Va here today, but I mean Chicoria, because you get into some of the early Chicoria stuff with Latin jazz, and to me, I really fell in love with Latin jazz. Artists like Michel Camilo. It's a guy, Michel Camilo. The first track that I had played, that was tough. It was a big band version of a tune called Not Yet. And Michel Camilo had composed that many years ago. And we used to play that on the ships, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
But I had a chart in front of me.
Oh, no way.
Didn't sound as good as the original, obviously. Yeah. But I pulled that out and went, wow. Oh, geez. Anybody can say it. They start yelling them out. I mean, we can go on forever on this. But Changuito, listen to Changuito. Listen to, I'm going to get this name wrong, Chucho Valdez. Right now, who I'm still loving is Daphnis Prieto, a drummer. But the stuff that he's doing, he's very clave-based Cuban stuff. Honestly, type in Cuban music, see what happens. You'll see just artists come up. Yeah. But I'm just trying to think what I listen to. But I did a lot of old school, and then it was more Latin jazz, like Chicoria, Michel Camilo, Tito Puente, Giovanni Hidalgo, because these guys are hiring the best of the best to make their music work. So check those guys out as a start. Good start.
Yeah. Jordan Thompson says, hey, quick question.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can think of that could help me better my independence with my hands and feet?
Latin drumming.
It's from Jordan Thompson. Exactly.
I am not kidding. You may sound like I'm being sarcastic.
No, that's true.
I was, that's why I said that the bossa nova took me so long to learn, because I just, I had a teacher that was on the road a lot, and he'd give me a sheet which just had the bossa. Here, we'll see you in 2 months. Okay, and I go home and couldn't do it because I didn't have the independence. My reading was so. And you had to build it. But honestly, start with beats like the cha-cha, because you've got that 4-way independence there. Then go to the bossa. Then go to the bolero. Take the ones on this sheet. And you'll see. You can go through all the exercises, in stick control and syncopation to build separation. But why not create a drum beat at the same time?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's a usable beat.
Yeah.
And then go back and you'll zip through all that stuff, all those independence books,
Another cool thing about a lot of the Latin stuff is you can always make it a little bit more simple too. Like even for that last samba, instead of playing the 3-note groupings for that, you can even just play straight 16s
just
and
eighths.
8s.
Oh, well, you mean 8s, because 16s would be too fast.
Pretty fast, yeah.
But if you just played 8s, absolutely. Gun, 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 gun. And just do the hands. And then maybe try to add the feet and then see if you can put them all together. Great start.
Daniel J. Jones says...
Mr. Daniel.
Yeah, Mr. Daniel says, cha-cha, bolero, merengue, soca, etc. Do you ever need to swing these Latin beats for general playing?
General playing, no. But if you're asked to, yes. I've been asked to swing several of them. And it's sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But, it's like, I always say, if you have the time, swing it. What is this? I did this last week just for fun. Yeah, Tom Sawyer by Rush, swing that, and and it's amazing because you create a whole different feel. At first it's like, is he playing Rosanna? What's he trying to do there? And then you heard it right off the bat, because of the pulse. So yeah, for sure, I don't get asked to, but the chart might ask me to sometimes, so yeah.
Dave the Wave says, hey Dave, what drum beaters are those? Sorry for the off-topic question.
What?
Drum beaters.
On the kicks?
Yeah, first off, they're Yamaha kicks.
Yamaha kick pedals and Danmar beaters. I've been using Danmar beaters forever.
Nice, yeah.
They last a long time.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah. Alberto says, can you slowly play the last groove you played? But we already did that. He asked that question before we did Smart Beat Tech.
Okay.
So hopefully that's good for you there.
Yeah.
Okay, William Young asks, can you play number 9 again without Smart Beat technology?
Absolutely.
Dennis?
I'll do it slow. Tell you what, I'll start it really slow, guys, number 9, the Bossa Nova, and then I'll take it up to a speed where I have seen bossa sort of stop. It's like, okay, this is as fast as your car is going to go in this case. So here would be the Bossa Nova. I'll start slow.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Is that you ringing or me?
That's you. Airplane mode.
I tell you,
Mike.
man, it's never happened. I got no friends. It's funny because last night I had a gig and it was like gray hairs in the audience. So we're going, oh gee, what are we going to play? We can't sort of get funky and say, oh, let's do the Girl from Ipanema, right, which is a bossa nova. And it was so slow. The guy starts at dun, 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 and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like trying to get him to
Speed
pick the tempo up, and I'm like, okay, he's not. I'm like, it was dragging like an animal, but man, we made it work. But yeah, there's always these tempos that just feel good, So sort of that medium one, the one that I played kind of in the middle there, was a pretty good feeling bossa nova. For sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have a correction here. Cypriotem says my name isn't Kipriotem, it's Cypriotem. So I've been pronouncing his name wrong the whole time, which is not uncommon for me. So I apologize.
You owe him dinner.
I owe him dinner. Hey, Cody Edwards says, hey guys, great lesson today.
Hey, Cody.
But I'm new to Latin drumming, and is there anything I should buy for beginners to learn Latin? I'm horrible at Latin.
The Latin drumming system.
Yeah.
I gotta say it because
But really, there isn't a lot of programs out there, especially I remember when we were filming Latin drumming system, we were looking for any kind of Latin packs. There's not really anything out there on a kit like
that's
this.
why we did that, right?
Exactly.
There's a lot of books out there, like from my favorite drummers, that are so advanced. You know, it's like, how do you take the clave and make half of it in 6/8 and the other half in 4/4? You know, it's like, I don't even know what clave is. You know, it's like, and so it's almost like you need to have a lot of knowledge before you can dabble in some of these books. And there's other stuff out there, you know, but honestly, I wanted to get something that would get people playing. And, you know, sometimes the responses I get through email or whatever, people saying, thanks, you helped me get this gig. Thank you, my band leader now wants me to, you know, play more and all that stuff. And that was the focus. It wasn't like, hey, let's, you know, try to make the best book out there. It's like, let's try to make the students better drummers, right?
Exactly.
And that was my focus of doing that. So hopefully some of you can agree with me that have the book. And it's fun, but to me, it's like I always wanted to get into Latin music. When I first heard it, I went, wow, I just want to learn more of these rhythms because it was very percussive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Very cool. Everybody's here is asking for your sticks. There's like, I'm skimming through every other question. It's like, hey, can I have Mike's sticks? Hey, great lesson. Can I have Mike's sticks? So
we gotta have a draw. How do we do that?
Well, do you have a specific question in mind that would challenge people? And what I'll do is this is going to be only for the people in the chat right now. We always give away stuff for people on Facebook and in YouTube. This time it's going to be only those who have Drumeo accounts. So I have my eye on the chat right now. Mike, this is all you.
Okay.
I'm going to shut out the answer because I might not even know the answer to this. So
name 2 percussionists, not drummers, that are currently or in the last 10 years have played with Santana. Go.
2 percussionists that have played in the last...
And you got to name them both in the answer, guys.
Okay. Who have played with Santana.
Yep.
Oh, I don't even think I know that one. So I'm glad I gave you my laptop. And these are for...
Not Sheila E.
These are for a pair of your sticks. These are Rush Pro Bark 747s.
Shreve and Blackman. They're drummers.
Are they getting any close?
Everyone is Googling Steve Smith.
It's not Steve Smith, that's for sure.
I need both, guys. I need both. There it is. Jason Carl got it. He was the first guy to name them both. Slow down. It says Carl Perazzo and Raul Rico. He's going by Jason Carl, I believe is who it was.
Jason Carl. Okay. Email me, dave@drumeo.com. I'm going to remember your name.
Congratulations, brother.
Congrats. You get
Because someone else had just said Carl Perazzo, but I need both guys. So one was, you only get 1 stick. No. So nice job. Very cool.
Cool. Do you mind if I steal these? These look pretty new.
You can take those. Those are pretty new.
Yes. You're going to get a new pair of sticks, and these are the oak, right?
Those are oaks. Yeah, but they actually say Neil Peart on them, so it's like they're okay. They weren't played by Neil, unfortunately.
The Neil Peart sticks. Signed by Neil Peart himself,
Signed
right?
by Neil Peart.
Cool. Well, that does it for all the questions.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's
Moving
5
on.
o'clock already, too, so time has gone kind of...
Should I play a tune out, or what should I do?
I would love for you to play a tune. And in fact, you were also talking about, and I told myself I'd remind you about it at the end. Did you want to quickly talk about that?
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's quickly do that.
I mean, there was a beat. This is a beat that actually impressed some guys when I was going to Drummers Collective because I bought this book. I don't remember the name of it, and it had this beat in it. It was called Wawanko, Guanco.
Yeah.
And it was based on Cascada. Okay, and Wawanko, I mean, we won't get into the whole history of it, but it was pretty cool. But unfortunately, I have never, ever been able to play this with a band.
Really?
Because I play it, like we tried doing it for Latin drumming system.
That's right.
And the guys are going, like the bass player and the guitar player going, wow, we don't know what to write to that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like going, well, and they're like, name some Wawankos. And I'm like, and we're pulling up all this real heavy, Latin stuff from like, Clave Wawanko, that album. And they're going, okay, that's just way too deep. But the drum beat is amazing. And when I played this for my audition at Drummers Collective back in 1993, most of you weren't born, the guys were like, whoa, wow, where'd you learn that? And I said, some book I got in a bargain bin at some music store. It was like, learn Latin today.
Yeah.
And it had like 2 beats in it, and one of them was this one. Let's see if I can get that left foot clave in there on this one too. This one's pretty crazy. It's been a while. Let's see what happens. can hear that pattern, right?
Yeah.
And I was trying to use that in the Latin drumming system. The guys were going, I don't know, can we make that work? And so unfortunately, I never did make it to that. But that was based on Cascada.
I was going to say, you guys can go on the archives or on YouTube and just rewind that part and kind of break it down yourselves, because that's a whole other lesson on its own.
And
before you play us out, though, I forgot to announce the winners from last week's lesson.
Okay, let's do that.
So let me just give me two seconds. I'm just going to pull it up. So we have 4 winners. Okay, I gave away 2-month memberships. I gave away a drum rudiment system, and I gave away a custom Drumeo stick bag. So the winners that we have from there, first is a free month. Winner for this one, YouTube name goes by Axeman3D. Okay, so congratulations, Axeman3D.
Excellent.
He says, it's good to see a lesson showing people how important it is to play in a group as a rhythm section, not just concentrating on your own instrument without showing how it's meant to be used in a band. You need to listen just as much as you need to be a human metronome.
Yeah.
And this was regarding playing with the bass player last week.
Perfect.
So congratulations, Axeman3D. Dave@drumeo.com. That's who you need to email. Another free membership goes to Diego Drummer Rocks. So congratulations, Diego Drummer Rocks. Says, awesome video. I played a couple times with the bass player, and at the start it was kind of confusing, but it really gets easier after you listen to the bass player, and it's really fun. Keep up the good work on Drumeo. So congratulations. Rudiment system. This is a $200 course.
Oh.
Really nice pack to have. This one, WCW. IAWCWLD, so I'm sure that means something to do with Wrestling World or something, but congratulations, you win. Says, best lesson so far. Whoops. This really helped my drummer and me sync up quite a bit. Grooves like this, blasting like crazy. Thanks a ton. So congrats on that. You win a free rudiment system.
Right on.
Last but not least, a free Drumeo stick bag, and these are really cool. We actually got them in. The guy who does it, his name is Wisep, and he creates all different custom bags, and this one he's done for us. He's done 4 of them for us already with a custom Drumeo. You've seen them.
I haven't.
You haven't seen them? Oh, I got to show you them. They're really cool. And they have your custom Drumeo embroidered in there too. And if you really wanted one, guys, you got to email me, because we can even get your name embroidered
on there too.
Can I email you? You can email me. But the winner for that one is Desi Drummer, D-E-Z-E Drummer, or Z-E. He says, wow, what a great lesson. Jerry and Dennis, you are both such great musicians, and it was very interesting to hear what they had to say about each other. Very useful. Keep up the great work.
Cool.
So again, email me, dave@drumeo.com.
Awesome.
Cool?
Congratulations, guys. Nice.
You going to play us out?
You know what, I'm going to play Soca. Why not? Let's end with a
That's
party.
awesome.
End with a party. Not hard tune, fun to play, from the Latin drumming system. Soca.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys all
Thanks,
tomorrow.
guys. We'll see you real soon.
See you, Mike, very soon as well.
Yeah. All right. What do we got here? Let's soca it up.